Recently, there was a controversy. I don't know how much it is being talked about in the US, but an American professor, Amy, I forget her name, Amy Wax, apparently, called India a shithole. Of course, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but this kind of raised quite a few hackles here in India, and a lot of people have been talking about it. And so my question is, it's on the one hand, there is misinformation, there is stereotyping, all that is very well. But what brings on this negativity? Why this negativity, like say from somebody like her? Or, for example, you've had people like state heads like Nixon, who made some very uncharitable comments about Indians and Indian women and so on and so forth. Where do you think that comes from? Do you think
so? Right, and this is again, you have bigotry, you have racism, also. The old colonial superiority complex is still very present in many people's minds in the West and in America in particular. And what's interesting about this, Wax comment, this took place on Tucker Carlson's show. And he very much represents what in politics we would say is the American right. And of course, you also have people from the left also be very critical of Hinduism and so on. The revulsion and dislike toward India and Hinduism spans the political spectrum in America. And in fact, I have a lot of Hindu friends who feel very drawn to the American right. They feel drawn to the Republican Party. And it saddens me to say this, but that conversation between Wax and Carlson, that's what they really think. That's what they really think of India and Hindus. And so if you think in terms of the political spectrum, Hindus don't have natural allies in America. The natural allies of Hindus in America are people who are seekers, who are discontent with this whole
systems. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. This sort of binary way of thinking. Everything is left, right, and the dominant discourse is a dispute between Christianity and atheism, and there's no other alternatives, right?
Absolutely.
And so those of us who are discontent with that, we feel drawn to traditions like Hinduism, like Buddhism, and that's not a voice you hear represented very often in the American political spectrum. And when it is, the people get made fun of. Oh, they're kooky, they're new age, they're not serious, and so on. And I do think there's a sort of there's a little bit of a somewhat sinister political agenda here. I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but I think there's a vested interest across the American political spectrum in not seeing India become very powerful. You'll be a player in the world, as it should be. I mean, demographically, such a massive population, ancient civilization, continuity going back through ancient times. It should be a major voice in world events. And I think there's this kind of neocolonial attempt to hold it back. Also, and this is more, I don't hear many people say this, but it's my personal view. And maybe this is my bias because of the particular kind of journey that I went through in life. But I find that the Hindu tradition offers so many very compelling, rational answers to so many of life's problems and concerns that I think in many ways it shows the bankruptcy of some of the ideologies that have been more dominant in the West. And I think when people start to get a genuine sense of how truly profound it is, sometimes they feel very threatened. And so one way to respond to that is just with ridicule and
denial and discredit it.
Exactly.
It happens at individual level and it happens at the macro level as well. That's been my understanding too.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.